This school and I formed a relationship probably long before 1957. I grew up in the neighborhood. I played in the yard, but you couldn't go inside. We watched football games through the holes in the fence. This was basically our school, we thought, for 3 months out of a year. In the summertime, we had a great time here. But when school started, you didn't walk on the campus. In 1957, integration was big, I'm sure, all over the South, but it didn't really hit us until Central High. And after that, then I think everybody started to feel that we were being segregated against.
The scene at North Little Rock that September morning, the first day of school in '57, was every bit as difficult. And those 6 students who attempted the integration were extremely brave, and they really got no credit. It was probably 40 years before anybody wrote anything about that incident.
I looked forward to school starting, but the night of the day before school started, I had my clothes laid out and I was ready to go to school. My aunt, whom I lived with at the time, told me that I was not going to school that day. I was going to go over to a friend's house. And they were all there, 5 of the other guys and myself, and I didn't know what was happening. And then they explained to me what was happening. We are going to try to enter North Rock High School. So they gave us a couple of rules. And one of them, we stay together, we walk together. You keep your head up. You don't act like you don't want to be here or like you're afraid. Keep your head up, walk straight ahead. As we walked, when we got in front of Chester's grocery store, the crowd intensified. In other words, there seemed to be more of them, and they were just swarming. And as I looked up the hill, like back down there was a grade, and you could look up, and you could see heads of people, and they seemed to be waving like heat. And there's so many of them, we could not figure out what they were doing. But we didn't speak, not even to each other. The ministers talked among themselves, but we didn't say anything, and we kept walking. And as we walked, the crowd got more intensified. They kept on telling us and calling the same thing over and over, over and over and over and over. You're not supposed to be here. Go home. Go back to your own school. This is not your school. Things of that nature. And it kept on and on and on. We stopped right here, and we started to walk again, right about here. And by this time, there was a crowd behind us, and there was a crowd coming from this street, as if they were standing there waiting, and they were coming from that way. So now there are people all around. As we started up the steps right here, then the crowd did the same thing. They just all surrounded us, this big sea of people. I've said a couple of times that it looked like 10,000 people out there, but the truth is the paper reported the next day that there was about 500. So maybe my fear had something to do with my thinking there was that many. And we started up the steps. And as we started up the steps, they started up the steps. And then we just walked on up all the steps. And about right here, after we had gotten to the top of the steps, right here, and going up to the school, the crowd now is all up in their little circle, and all over here. And somebody put their fingers right on the back of my neck, and all they said was, "I just want to see what a nigger feels like." I've never known who it was. I've been asked whether it was a boy or a girl. I couldn't tell you. Now, by this time, it's as if they know what's going to happen, but we don't know what's going to happen. We don't realize what's going to happen when we get up those steps. Just when we got here, we were stopped because the doors flew open and 2 men came out. And they walked right up here. The ministers walked all the way up on the flat part here, and they started talking to them. And I imagine, I don't know what they said, because down here, the people are still behind us. The noise is still intense. And they talked for about 2 or 3 minutes. And they seemed to come to some kind of understanding because the ministers came back to us, turned us around, and we started back down the steps.
They later did meet with the school superintendent, who basically said, look, you saw the crowd out there. They don't want integration right now, and we just, you got to go back to Jones High School, which was the black school in North Little Rock at that time. It was not until the 66-67 school year that black students were entered and were fully enrolled at North Little Rock High School. The first black graduates were in the spring of 1967.
This school, these steps, this whole thing, it had a fear for me that I could not fathom. In fact, I live in this city, and I have ever since the 1965, but I never came back up here again. But since then, I've had 2 sons to graduate from this high school. My grandsons graduate from this high school, and I've got a granddaughter attending this high school now. I feel that what we did was necessary, and at the time, it helped. And even today, I think it has helped. And I would do it again if I had the chance.